Technology, it's okay. I want to start with gratitude to Bonnie for helping us with the production of services tonight. My dear friend and partner, Rabbi Kavod Weeder, for his leadership, and so many of you who have graciously stepped up to help lead us in prayer and song tonight. I open tonight with Solace Nigun, a song that I wrote early on in our pandemic as a way to focus in, find my breath, find that place of deep peace and comfort, something that we can experience when we connect through music.
Shabbat Shalom. I really need Shabbat. I don't know about you. It's been quite a week. And we're not this evening going to talk about what happened in our country this week. Shabbat is a taste, the sages say, is a taste of Olam Haba, a taste of the world that is coming. And there's this this deep wisdom of our Torah and of God that says that the only way that we can get to our vision of what is possible is if we're able to vision it, if we're able to break free from the world as it is and be able to imagine in the deepest way the world as it can be. And Shabbat is a mikvah, an immersion, a complete hot tub soak into the world as it can be. And so I want to really invite us tonight as we open to our service to hold in your own heart, in your own vision, what is the world on every level, the level of family, the level of community, the level of society, of country. What is your vision of what can be? And with that vision, that will be the light that will light our Shabbat candles. So it's my pleasure to be able to introduce my wife, Ilana, who's going to lead us in candle lighting tonight. You are muted, so you will need to unmute there. And Ilana is, this is the yard site of her father, my father-in-law, Jacob Rogel. So this is a very special Shabbat for us.
Probably have it on mute. So take.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen. Beautiful. Yasher Koach. Okay, so our Shabbat service begins with Lecha Dodi, and the beautiful thing about Lecha Dodi is the verse. Lecha Dodi, beloved, let's greet the bride. Pnei Shabbat, the face of Shabbat, we will receive. Pnei Shabbat, the face of Shabbat, we will receive. What's so interesting in Hebrew is that the word panim for face shares the same root as the word pninim, which means inside. Face and inside are connected, almost as if inherent in the language is a desire that our face be able to reflect what is truly inside. Most of the week, we wear a certain kind of mask. We wear a mask to kind of shield to the outside world what our feelings might be, whether those feelings are our insecurities or our pain or our anger. And if we remove that mask, that piece, and we see the rawness and the pain, the anger, we unveil the anger. Below the anger is the hurt, the fear. And we unveil that to go even deeper. And there's quiet, and there's connection, and there's life-giving source. This is our deepest inside. Beyond all of it, beyond the drama, beyond all of it is that well, that clear pool of water that connects with all of life. This is the inside that we're being asked to bubble forth so that it can show on our face this Shabbat. Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, במחשבה תחילה לכדו לקראתו ונשבה הפינה לכדו לקראתו ונשבה הפינה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך ומי אורי דבר כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לכדו לקראתו ונשבה הפינה לכדו לקראתו ונשבה הפינה בואי ושלום עטרת בלך גם בשמחה ובסולבתו אמונה סגולה בואי חלה בואי
When we gather on Shabbat, it's not just to come together in joy, it's also to bring our loss and our sadness. And if you're here this evening for a yahrzeit or within a mourning period, we say to you, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem, may the Holy One comfort you. May you feel the presence, even virtually here, of our sacred community, our loving community, holding you in the same way that the hands in the image hold this candle. We transition into the main body of our service with the Chatzi Kaddish. And the Kaddish prayer always functions as a transition in a service. The mourner's Kaddish is just one type of Kaddish that is also working as a tradition. But when we see the Kaddish and we hear the familiar melody and the rhythm of the words, we know that we're about to enter a different kind of prayer space. Yitkada v'yitkada shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei decho beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, Ve'imeru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach. Le'olam Ome Omaya. Yitbarach. Yitbarach. Ve'ishtabach. V'yipar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar. V'yitaleh. V'yitalal. Shemei Dekudesha B'rechu. Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata damihiran v'yama v'imru Amen. Please stand for the Baruch Hu as we bless together. You may be seated. Phyllis Blanc.
As I sit here in the silence of my room, the moon hangs high in the window, smooth and white like a river stone. Against a darkened sky, the blackened silhouettes of branches bare are kissed by moonlight. Through another window, a silvery web catches the light, still and quiet. The night falls in like a blanket and peace washes over me.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hama Ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Amen. Such a pleasure to hear your voice, Phyllis.
Thank you.
as we reach this central prayer of our service, which is really an invitation to open to our interconnectedness, to the one presence that we are a part of. It's not an accident that the sages placed the Ahavat Olam prayer to intro us into this moment, because we know that when we're in a place of receiving love, our hearts open up, that we don't have to be so guarded. We don't have to be so protective in the presence of love. The presence of love calls us back to who we are in our essence, to our connection, to the presence that flows through us. So for a moment, I invite you to just either close your eyes or have it halfly lidded. And think about all of the love that is in your life, whether from your children, parents, or friends, family. And just let yourself open and be held by it. Let it connect you to something greater, that the boundaries of our bodies as we sit here in our chairs or in our space become less solid. We are connected. We are a part of. The presence is what we receive and what flows through us and what we share with others. Right after the Shema prayer, we go right into the Ve'ahavta, the transition from receiving love to giving, and you will love. You will share that loving presence, because that is who you are. That is who you are on your inside of insides, is that loving presence. So you can join me either standing or sitting for the Shema, whatever is your custom. We'll let every exhale, every breath stand for each word, letting those boundaries dissolve, and let us be just a flow of giving, receiving, and giving loving presence. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And now the Ve'ahavta, slowly with strong intention. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'otecha ve'hayu advarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam beshivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai V'tem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet. Ellen.
Just as our ancestors stood at the shores of the sea and questioned God when it seemed all hope was lost, it was through an act of faith that the sea parted and a path forward presented itself. One step at a time, we move forward through our own narrow places, through these certain times, toward hope and redemption. Each day we have a choice to stay stuck and focus on those things that limit and constrict us, or acknowledge our blessings, those daily miracles that fill our lives, that keep us moving forward. May we have the strength and fortitude to walk forward with faith and find freedom from our own narrow spaces.
I had the blessing and good fortune to gather with friends and colleagues from all around the country, across different denominations, to study, to make music, to pray this week in a virtual cantors retreat. It was with the American Conference of Cantors, the Cantors Assembly, and the Guild of Temple Musicians. And it is incredible to me to be able to gather in a virtual space and to see my screen fill up with so many people that I love and respect, and the peace that came over me as the screen filled up was a beautiful reminder to me that we create that Sukkot Shalom, that the loving and peaceful presence for one another. And if we take the time to look up and see each other, those faces of friends and community members, when we are feeling ourselves stuck and alone, we just need to see this beautiful community that we are a part of and remember that we can be that Sukkot Shalom. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת, שבת וינפש.
In a moment, we will begin our Amidah prayer. And the traditional Amidah follows a similar formula. There's 3 introductory blessings, and there's 3 concluding blessings. On Shabbat, there is 1 blessing in between, making a total of 7. And the rest of the week, there are 13 blessings in between. So each one of those blessings is meant to take us to a certain place in our hearts. And we've talked about before the opening blessings of connecting with our ancestors as being the fundamental piece that we start our prayer with, realizing that we are part of a chain, Lidor Vador, as it goes from past into future. And then we end the last 2 blessings end with gratitude and with peace. And it's almost like the rabbis are saying, no matter when you turn your heart to God in prayer, you always want to end with gratitude. You want to be able to notice the blessings in your life. And you want to end with peace, with wholeness, to be able to say in this moment right here, it's complete. And it's difficult sometimes to really let things be complete in a moment, to conclude with peace. We started off the service saying that Shabbat is a taste of Olam Haba, of the world that is coming, of the world as it could be. So much of the time we are so consumed by the world as it is, that the vision of what it could be can almost be distorted. So we come back again and again in our prayer to completeness, to be able to say in this moment, there is a level where there is peace, where there is completeness. I can see it, I can touch it, I can feel it. So as we go through these blessings, I would love for us to pay particular attention to the closing ones of gratitude and of peace. If you're comfortable, please stand for the Amidah.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tilatecha, Ufi Yagid Tilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tilatecha, Ufi Yagid Tilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Bahanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vezocher Chaste Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Lifnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham be'ezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol Ata, Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh kolim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishanei afar, Michamocha bal givurot, Umidom elah, Melech meimi tu mechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lechayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh, v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. you can continue silently, either with the traditional prayer on the left or the reflection meditation on the right. Shabbat Shalom. What a week. This Shabbat, with the beginning of the book of Exodus, we begin the foundational narrative of our people, the story from slavery to freedom, from bondage to redemption. It's a story that explores how we engage the values of liberty and justice, love and compassion. It's a story that can be explored on every level, whether mystical or spiritual, personal or relational, or economic and political. Our tradition asks us to identify with Moses, the main leader and protagonist of the story, and strive to understand his leadership, not in some academic or religious sense as someone high above us, but as a model for each one of us. When I was a teenager, I remember some Jewish organization had Judified WWJD, the Christian campaign of what would Jesus do to what would Moses do. Now, while Jewish tradition does not equate Moses to the level of God, his name doesn't even appear in the Passover Haggadah for that reason, we do look to Moses as the paradigm for leadership on both personal and organizational dimensions. As the book of Exodus opens up, we're immediately exposed to Moses' sense of justice and willingness to step forward for what is right. First, he sees an Egyptian taskmaster beating an Israelite and intervenes on his behalf. Not content to just defend his fellow Israelites, he then attempts to adjudicate between them. Now, it's important to mention that while the narrative naturally focuses on the leadership of Moses standing up against justice, this parsha also highlights the actions of various women who modeled leadership in less public ways. First is Yocheved, the wife of Amram and the mother of the three people who were to become the great leaders of the Israelites, Miriam, Aaron, and Moses. It was Yocheved who, at the height of the Egyptian persecution, had the courage to have a child, to hide him for 3 months, and then to devise a plan to give him a chance of being rescued. Even though we know so little about Yocheved from the story, reading the narrative leaves us no doubt about her bravery and resourcefulness. Not by accident did her children become leaders. The two midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, were the other women who frustrated Pharaoh's first attempt at genocide. Told to kill the male Israelite children at birth, they feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. Summoned and accused of disobedience, they outwitted Pharaoh by constructing an ingenious cover story. The Hebrew women, they said, are vigorous and give birth before we arrive. And as a result, they escaped punishment and saved lives. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, of blessed memory, shares that this story is the first recorded instance of one of Judaism's great contributions to civilization, the idea that there are moral limits to power. There are instructions that should not be obeyed. There are crimes against humanity that cannot be excused by the claim that I was only obeying orders. This concept, generally known as civil disobedience, is usually attributed to the 19th century writer Henry David Thoreau and entered international consciousness after the Holocaust and the Nuremberg trials. Its true origin, though, lies thousands of years earlier in the actions of two women, Shiphrah and Puah. Through their understated courage, they earned a high place among the moral heroes of history, teaching us the primacy of conscience over conformity, the law of justice. In the story of Moses standing up against the Egyptian taskmasters, what's less clear from the story is whether Moses realizes that he is an Israelite at this point and is standing up for his own, or whether he still identifies as a prince of Egypt and stands up for another who is not part of his own group. If there's any doubt of how far his circle of concern reaches, the Torah tells us a third story in which Moses has fled Egypt and then sees a group of shepherds mistreating a group of 7 young Midianite women. Moses rose and saved them, the text tells us, and he watered their flock. Now, the story is so important because the Torah wants to let us know that Moses is not just offended by injustices perpetrated against his own people. Moses also defends foreigners and strangers. As Bible scholar Jeffrey T. Gay says, his passion for justice makes no distinction between nations. Moses' heroism in siding with the Midianite women has a fascinating parallel in American history. Frederick Douglass, the great abolitionist and ex-slave, was also an impassioned advocate for women's suffrage. When he was asked why he, as a man, should be so involved in the struggle for women's dignity, Douglass explained, "When I ran away from slavery, it was for myself. When I advocated emancipation, it was for my people. But when I stood up for the rights of women, self was out of the question, and I found little nobility in the act." Like Moses, millennia before him, Douglass dedicated his life to leading his people out of slavery. And like Moses, he understood that fighting for the groups to which he belonged, Blacks, men, was ultimately not enough. The God of Israel is against injustice in all its forms, not just injustice against this people or that. It's clear that Moses is an activist, a person appalled by oppression and persecution. These are noble qualities that are even associated with God. And yet, crusaders against injustice are often consumed by their own indignation. All too often, the line between righteousness and self-righteousness all but disappears, and indignation crowds out gentleness, compassion, humility, and true understanding. So the Torah tells us something else about Moses. He was a shepherd. To perform his duties properly, a shepherd must combine power on the one hand with gentle attentiveness on the other. He must have the capacity to control and provide for his sheep, but he must also nurture and care for each one. A midrash poignantly evokes Moses' mercy and tenderness. It says, when Moses, our teacher, was tending the flock of Jethro in the wilderness, a little goat escaped from him. He ran after it until it reached a shady place. And when it reached the shady place, it came across a pool of water and stopped to drink. When Moses approached it, he said, I didn't realize that you ran away because of thirst. You must be tired. He placed the kid upon his shoulder and walked on. And thereupon God said, you have mercy in leading a human being's flock. You will assuredly tend my flock, Israel. So not only must a leader take offense at injustice and act accordingly, he or she must also have compassion and act accordingly. Real compassion is not just an emotion. Moses doesn't just feel bad for the goat, but also takes steps to alleviate the suffering. In our Parsha this week, many of us might gloss over the compassionate action of another woman leader, Pharaoh's daughter. It was she who had the courage to rescue an Israelite child and bring him up as her own in the very palace where her father was plotting the destruction of the Israelite people. The Torah does not give her a name, but it is she who names Moses. Most likely, it was not indignation at injustice that moved her to act, but compassion. These qualities of compassion and understanding are the necessary complements to the qualities of justice that we see in Moses and the women of this Parsha. We are in a fragile time in our country where people step forward loudly on their notions of justice, whether that's immigration, racial equality, election fraud, vaccine consumption and distribution, or healthcare, without taking time to bring the qualities of gentleness, empathy, and the relationship building necessary in order to truly understand other points of view. Leadership definitely requires speaking out about what we believe, but it also requires listening, inclusion, and caring for the people with whom we are in relationship. We at Temple Bethel are launching another 3-session series of Can We Talk? Building relationships through disagreement. I've been working with a national organization called Resetting the Table, whose mission is courageous communication across divides. How do we actually get closer to each other through understanding our different perspectives instead of having them divide us? We hope that you'll join us for 3 Tuesday nights in February to discover a pathway to mutual understanding and better develop these qualities of justice and compassion in ourselves. Shabbat Shalom. At this point, we will say our Misha Berach prayer for healing. At this time, it would be wonderful if you would put in the chat anybody that you'd like to include in our healing prayer. Anybody who's suffering from physical illness, mental illness, or addiction, and be able to bring them, their spirit, their journey, their struggle into our own prayers. We have some announcements for wonderful upcoming events in our community. As soon as that next slide, let's see, if we can go to the announcement slides, and then we'll come back to the Elenu.
I may have forgotten them, but we can still make the announcements, Kavod. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Go. Why don't you do the first one, Enter.
So our first one is a musical evening in 2 acts. Let me see if I can find a little more information here. This is sponsored by our Bee Sisters. This is on January 23rd. Registration is open, so please go to our website to get more information. This is going to be a wonderful night. This is also sponsored by Men's Club. And Rabbi Kavod is going to be leading a half-day meditation retreat. This is our 5th annual meditation retreat, the virtual edition. This is going to take place on Sunday, February 7th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have a number of our members here who have participated in this incredible retreat. So for those of you who are looking to explore a new avenue for finding your center, I highly encourage you to go to our website to find out more about this retreat. So excited to be welcoming my dear friend Neshama Karlbach, who will be our guest at our virtual KISS service on January 30th. Neshama is a beautiful soul who has incredible music and Torah to share. I'm excited to be able to welcome her here. And we also have our KISS dancers and some other special treats to experience when you come to our virtual service. So please go to our website to make sure that you are registered so we can get you a swag bag and our service booklet. At this time, I'd like to invite Kim Gubner to lead us in Aleinu. If you're able to, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Beautiful. Yasher Koach. In our synagogue community, we are saying Kaddish for, we're in the Shloshim period for Melvin Engelman, the father of our member Susie Engelman, B. Wool, member and mother of our member Evan Wool, and Stan Levy, our member. We're also, I just will mention, we're not in the Shiva or Shloshim period yet, but Karen Chernan's mother, Shirley, passed this week, and we'll have a Shiva service as part of our Refuat HaNefesh healing service on Tuesday evening. So you can support Karen and her family on Tuesday evening. We're also commemorating the following yahrzeits: Mary Alson, Daniel Bennell, Alan Chafflin, June Chayo, Harry Davis, Sophia Desyatnikov, Charles Dortort, Ruth Urschler, Leo Fox, Gertrude Guinness, Henrietta Granette, Walter Grossfeld, Leona Hoffman, Chaim Horowitz, Lou Kranz, Albert Nahan, Alice Needle, Connie Weiderman Peltier, Jacob Rogel, Ethel Rubin, Henry Shankman, Michael Sella, Louis Seligson, Sarah Semmel, Leon Weingarten, Steve Weiss, David Calvin White, Julie Ann White Coman, Saul Zuckerman. If there is anybody else that you are saying Kaddish for, please put it in your chat. You may stand or sit according to your custom for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yash shemei rabbah ve'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael b'gala u'v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Usay shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Okay, it's our pleasure to welcome the Olsheim family, Henry, Rowan, Elizabeth, whoever is going to lead us for Kiddush. And if you have a cup, raise it.
We are all going to do it.
Awesome.
Okay.
If you could come as close as you can to so we can hear you just fine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pori hagafen. Take it from here.
Keep going.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav veratzavanu, veshabbat kocho, va'ahava uvratzon, hinhilanu, zikaron lema'ase, vereshit, kihu yom techila, lemikra kodesh, zecher liziat mitzrayim, kivanu vacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kochecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, kinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen.
Time.
Right.
Here we go. My slightly overcooked challah.
Beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Te'avon, Shabbat Shalom, Yasher Koach.
Here we go.
All right. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I hope it's